What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Leftist Time Machine. I'm Billy, and for this video I just want to do a little bit of like an impromptu live reading of some articles. This is going to be my first news commentary video. They're going to be very random. This is not going to be like a regularly occurring thing. This is just going to be something when I get worked up about, I want to just rant to the camera. So earlier today when I was at work, I came across an article from the Financial Times. This is an article titled "NATO and the EU Sound Alarm Over Risk of Ukraine Weapon Smuggling." And of course it's reminiscent of stories we heard in the past about how Ukraine is just basically taking all these weapons from the European Union and of course primarily the United States, and the soldiers getting a hold of the weapons and selling them, just fucking selling them, mostly to black market dealers in Europe, which is really neat, I suppose, especially for the national security of the European Union. Never mind when the U.S. was arming the Taliban and those guns were putting the lives of Middle Easterners at risk. Nobody gave a fuck, but now that Europeans are at risk, it's a big fucking deal. Go figure. So I'm looking through this article here, and again, it's from Financial Times, so this is not some fucking Russian propaganda, which I'm sure I'll be accused of spreading. For the time being, we're allowed to criticize Ukraine on YouTube. At least I think. I'm hoping so. So yeah, let's just get into it. I want to show you this article here, where it says NATO and EU states are pushing for better tracking of weapons supplied to Ukraine in response to fears that criminal groups are smuggling them out of the country and onto Europe's black market. So let's see, yeah, so Western states, this is just the European Union states, they say have pledged more than $10 billion in military support, from portable rocket launchers and armored vehicles to rifles and vast amounts of ammunition. A number of NATO member states are discussing with Kiev some form of tracking system or detailed inventory list for weapons supplied to Ukraine. Now, my first fucking thought is, why wasn't this tracking system enacted from the beginning?
I wasn't really prepared for a follow-up question.
I get it. Russia invaded Ukraine, and I guess things were in a hurry. They just fucking sent out weapons. Fine. The first batch or two, fine. Maybe no tracking mechanisms, but we should have learned our fucking lesson immediately. Let's go ahead and track these weapons. This is just something the responsible government would do. A responsible response to sending weapons to a foreign country. It's just, all right, let's find out where the fuck they're going. Make sure they're actually getting into the hands of the soldiers that we're supposed to be arming. And I'm not going to touch on the Ukrainian soldiers having a, let's just say, large contingent of far-right fascists, i.e. Nazis. We'll touch on that later. But it just goes to show the ineptitude of the Western powers when it comes to their commitment to fighting the East, be that Russia or be that China. They're just like, what, Russia? Fucking weapons. Just throw the fucking things out the window. And if they make it there, cool. And when they make it there, well, what happens then? We don't fucking know. Yeah, later on in this article in the Financial Times, it says, the issue of arms trafficking from Ukraine was discussed at a meeting of EU interior ministers this week, while on Monday the European Commission launched an EU support hub in neighboring Moldova to provide expertise and cooperation to combat issues such as weapon smuggling. So they say, okay, well, it's hard to avoid trafficking or smuggling. We didn't achieve it in former Yugoslavia and probably won't avoid it in Ukraine. That's fair. Again, I understand this. That's fine. You can't trust and you can't control the actions of every single soldier. That's fine. But we have a history. We have a well-documented history of weapon smuggling out of Ukraine. This is nothing new. And to prove this, I have this article here that was published in 2002, May of 2002, by PBS, entitled Ukraine, Cashing In on Illegal Arms by Dave Gilson. And right here, again, this article was written 20 fucking years ago. 2 goddamn decades of consistent weapon smugglings and just disappearing of weapons. Right here it says, the Ukrainian arms industry grew tenfold and exported 1.5 billion worth of weapons. Let's see, while Ukraine's legal arms industry has boomed, the international small arms black market may have proved far more lucrative. Ukrainian arms have been linked to some of the world's bloodiest conflicts and most notorious governments, including the Iraqi regime of Saddam Hussein and, until recently, the Taliban in Afghanistan. The Ukrainian parliamentary inquiry concluded that between 1992 and 1998, Ukraine lost $32 billion in military assets, in part through theft, discount arms sales, and lack of oversight. So that's all I'm going to show from this article here, because it's 20 fucking years old. But we're going to click away from that one. And we're going to go over from this Financial Times article over to a CNN article. This is from, let's see, this is from April 19th of 2022. Or at least it was last updated on April 19th of this year. And the headline reads, "What happens to weapons sent to Ukraine? The U.S. doesn't really know." Now, at the time, obviously I would bust the U.S.'s balls for just not really giving a shit. But now, in light of my recent research, the U.S. doesn't really have the right to say they don't know. The U.S. should have expected this. Ukraine is a country that's been rife with corruption for basically my entire fucking life. I mean, this is no secret. The Ukrainian government is just corrupt to its fucking core. This has been an open fact for the past 25, 30 years now. So, yeah, again, I'm looking right here at the CNN article. The U.S. has few ways to track the substantial supply of anti-tank, anti-aircraft, and other weaponry it has sent across the border into Ukraine, sources tell CNN. A blind spot that's due in large part to the lack of U.S. boots on the ground in the country. Well, what do you want? Have fucking guys with binoculars watching where the fucking guns are going? Is that what we're doing here? No. Don't fucking tell me that you can't monitor where these guns are going because you don't have dudes in boots and fucking uniforms sitting there. It's nonsense. It's a cheap fucking excuse, and it's nonsense. Right here it says, it's a conscious risk the Biden administration is willing to take. So what this means is that, again, like I said, in the US's and the West's fervor to fight the East, like I said, Russia and China, they'll just do anything. They'll just send weapons to fucking anybody. Because they're fighting Russia, which means they're on our side. Well, I mean, yeah, Nazis are on our fucking side. We're the United States of America, after all. And two, what's gonna happen after the conflict has resolved? I don't care who the fuck wins or what happens. Where are those weapons? Where are they? They're just sitting there in people's hands, and I'm gonna get to it now. They're sitting in Nazis' hands. What the fuck is this? Again, if we track them, if we're sending weapons for war, well, in my view, when the war's done, give us back the fucking weapons. Maybe that's an idea. They didn't pay for these weapons. We fucking paid. My tax dollars, your tax dollars paid for those fucking weapons. We don't have them. Our government doesn't have them, and they shouldn't. But no, they're just sitting there in Ukraine. And when, like I said, when the conflict's over next year, 2 years from now, whenever the fuck it ends, they'll just be sitting there. And just like in the Middle East, when we were arming the Taliban, well, that came back to bite us in the fucking ass because they had our weapons and they were using it to wreak havoc. So what do you think this fucking far-right Nazi regime is going to be doing when the war's over? Assuming the Nazis still have power. I'm not playing favorites here, but I don't want the Nazis to win this one. Sorry, but let's say they do. Let's say Ukraine still stands and Zelensky's still president. All our weapons are going to be there. And who has the fucking weapons? Nazis. You want to know how I know it's fucking Nazis? Aside from the patches and the fucking endless insignias that we see and all the social media profile pictures of these soldiers doing the fucking Aryan salute and wearing swastika t-shirts, I'm sure to put a few pictures in this fucking video for sure. Don't you worry, I'll find them for you. But just the other day, I read this article right here. Let's see. Convicted of torture, former tornado combatant Onyshenko was released. Ex-deputy of National Affairs. This guy, he was sentenced to 11 years of imprisonment and served 7 years of his sentence there. Now, what was this individual convicted of all these years ago? 7 years ago. In 2015, the General Prosecutor's Office of Ukraine reported that Onyshenko had been convicted 5 times. According to the department, the ex-commander of Tornado is involved in the creation of a criminal group in the city of Privila. Sorry if I mispronounced that. My bad. Which engaged in torture and illegal deprivation of liberty of local residents. So yeah, I mean, you're part of a neo-Nazi organization. You are sent to prison for torturing and violating human rights, and you're released from prison to fight Russia. At the same time, Zelensky criminalizes the Communist Party of Ukraine because, you know, they're the largest anti-war faction in the country, and being against war is apparently a fucking crime, and being a Nazi and an ex-war criminal, we can forgive that as long as you're willing to take these American guns to fucking kill people. So these are the fucking monsters that are getting our weapons. And his prison sentence is not going to get reinstated when the war's over. They're not going to send him the fuck back to jail. It's not going to happen. I guarantee it's not going to happen. But yeah, I mean, I just find this thing so infuriating because we're sending so much fucking money in aid to this country right now. We just in America, I think we're damn near $60 billion in aid sent since February of this year. But we're sending unheard of sums of money, especially considering the circumstance we're in. With gas prices being the way they are, inflation being out of control, all of which are artificial, by the way, the American people are suffering. We can't fucking feed ourselves barely. And what are we doing? We're sending weapons to, you know, Nazis overseas. Or sorry, Ukrainian soldiers overseas. I just like the selective accountability that the U.S. imposes on certain people and certain groups. We want to monitor every fucking dollar given to the United States citizens because God forbid we live decent and healthy lives. But yeah, let's just go ahead and send $60 billion worth of weapons out to Ukraine and then close our eyes and just not give a fuck. It goes back to my saying all the time. Every time I talk about the United States, I say this. We have the money to solve every problem facing this planet today. Simple as that. Homelessness, hunger, health issues, educational deprivation. We can do it. We can educate, we can house, we can clothe, we can feed every motherfucker, not only in this country, but in the world. But they're so hell-bent on keeping us oppressed that they want to make sure that we're not living good lives. We can't do it. They can't have it. Capitalism requires a suffering masses. So when you send out, some food stamps and some welfare checks, well, that's checked down to the fucking decimal point. And any bit of fraud they find is persecuted to the highest extent of the law. Because, again, healthy people, healthy, well-fed, well-educated, well-dressed people is not what the United States is interested in. They don't care. They don't want it. They don't want us to be fucking well off. So that, again, is just another cog in the wheel of the capitalist regime. But you go to Ukraine, where we send $60 billion in aid, we don't care where that goes. Because it's war. It means people are dying. Buildings are getting bombed. Lives are being ruined. And that doesn't matter. Because it doesn't affect the flow of capital. In fact, it only increases the flow of capital. So, forgive this rant. It's a very impromptu, very shoddy little video. But this stuff that I need you all to pay attention to is that we see the massive amounts of money this government spends on primarily the defense budget. Something damn near $800 billion a year is spent on our defense budget. And, well, I see no fucking need. Especially when we send $60 billion just so recklessly. We don't ask for receipts or fucking pictures of where they go or updates on what's going on with them. For every dollar, like I always say, for every dollar spent on war, it's a dollar taken from the working class. And that's the way we gotta reframe these things. $60 billion could have saved a lot of people these past 7 months. A lot of people lost their homes, lost their jobs, lost their cars, lost their health insurance, what have you. Well, I know the remedy to those situations. Well, it's $60 billion. It's actually a good fucking chance it's less than that. But yeah, I digress. The U.S. is just a warmongering, fucking bloodthirsty animal, and the Democrats are entirely on board with it. They're signing away every fucking bill. It's damn near unanimous. I'm pretty sure it's been unanimous. I gotta look into that. Will I verify that? Who the fuck knows? We'll see in editing. But alright, that's all I gotta say for now. The United States sucks. Fuck Ukraine. Fuck this war. It's just so goddamn frustrating. People are starving in the streets. I gotta stop. All right, tune in next time. I'm actually working on a video about the military. I have it all written up. It's going to be an entirely audio video. You won't have to look at my fucking face, so, you know, lucky you. But it'll be an entirely, you know, narrated video with some pictures and some slides. It'll be pretty exciting. But until then, I'll catch you all next time, and take care of yourselves.